Hi pals, it's me, Artie, they them pronouns only. And I started watching Big Brother. So I've been seeing a few posts about Big Brother. And I think the main thing, two things that made me check it out. The recent posts about one of the contestants being trans and just me being me. Just wanting to see a little bit about it. And then also some of my friends have been watching it and have been talking about the selection of people who were chosen, but particularly the disabled representation on the show this year. I thought I'd just have a little casual chat through it. I think one of the big things generally is it, at first glance, it feels a bit more like old reality TV where it's more normal people. But then the more you watch it, the more you learn about some of the other people on the show. Unfortunately, it's again a lot of influencery people who have already been on other reality TV shows. I did make a list as well. So yeah, Dylan, who is the man with a leg amputation or foot amputation, he was also on a documentary called The Last Leg, which was about amputees. So he gets a little bit of a pass. It's not the same as reality TV. Farida obviously is already a social media person anyway. She is a makeup artist that has a big following online. But she's also been on Blankety Blank and Come Dine With Me. Zach is a model, but he's not been on other reality TV shows, so I'll also give him a pass. Henry's a food critic as well, so I would say there's quite a few people, if they're not an influencer, they have kind of public creative jobs. Noki was also literally a beauty queen crowned last year. She was crowned Miss Universe, I think, last year. And then Kerry has been on Deal or No Deal where she won 35k. So, it's a little bit frustrating seeing how many people who have been on a bunch of other programs, reality TV programs, just continue to get prioritized, it feels over other normal people. But besides that, I do feel there's a bit more diversity in this show than most of the other shows I have watched or have been watching. There's definitely a lot more racial and ethnic diversity. There are, I think, 3 of the participants are... Okay, so I have an issue in my brain where I don't know what the difference is between immigrant and migrant. And I did Google it, and personally, it did not help clarify things. So if anybody is watching this and knows how to explain the difference between immigrant and migrant to me in the comments, that would be great, because to me, the definition that came up on Google literally is the same thing. So I don't know when to use which one. Okay, so I did work out which means what. But the difference in the wording of this sentence is so minute, so I think you can understand why I didn't see the difference. Basically, immigrant is someone who has moved to one place, as in past tense. Migrant is somebody who continually moves to different places, both searching for basically the same thing. I have some curiosities about why this has been distinctly made into 2 separate words with 2 very, very similar but different meanings. One is a singular move and one is continual moving. I wonder if that has some iffy origins to it, or if there is some genuine history that I just don't really know at the moment. So if there is other reading as well that would help me understand that, please let me know. If you don't know someone's personal position, how do you know which word to use? So I assume that the people on Big Brother are immigrants that don't plan on moving multiple times. They just came to the UK. But yeah, generally, how would you know if you're just sort of talking about people, So yeah, the English language is weird. We all know that. But so yeah, what I was going to say is I think at least 3 of the participants this year are immigrants slash migrants, which I think is positive, especially with the horrific media and political stuff going on in the UK surrounding immigrants, migrants, asylum seekers, etc. There's a lot of queer people in this season. However, like, majority of them, I could be wrong, I don't know if everybody is like come out or not come out, you know. There might be some people who I think are probably straight who may not be straight, but like there's definitely a lot of white cis queer men on this show. And again, we obviously have a trans woman who is once again white and blonde. So yeah, I think it's important to have more trans people on TV generally. Just interesting to see who they're choosing to cast or like bring onto these shows, you know. And then we have 2 disabled people, and one of them is actually a multiply marginalised disabled person. Dylan is a mixed race black man, and he is the person who has had his foot amputated. So yeah, I find a lot of the marginalised representation on TV, including in reality TV, is very like one-dimensional. This is also how I felt about the movie Barbie, so you know, that you're only really allowed to be marginalised in one particular way. Again, I could be wrong, I don't really know these people, I haven't looked that much into them, but from like first impressions of watching the first like week, I think, of the show, this is what I'm sort of seeing or gauging. So yeah, it is nice to see a mixed race black man who is disabled on TV. And then the other disabled person is Kerry, who has MS. Like with both of them, we actually get to see a lot more about the use of mobility aids, because Dylan obviously has a prosthetic and Kerry has a little like mobility scooter and a walking stick. And then as well, obviously Farida is I remember she was talking quite early on about her religion, her faith, and wanting to share like her experiences of the religion of Islam. Yeah, like currently my understanding of the queer men, I'm assuming, so I'm going to put it out there, I am assuming. I'm not assuming anymore because they're all definitely confirmed, but yeah, they are all gay or queer in some capacity. So Jordan and Matty are definitely queer. Jordan has expressed being bisexual and Matty has expressed growing up gay in... Did he grow up in the Isle of Man? I've already forgotten, but like he talks about growing up as the only queer person he knew or saw around. Henry and Jenkin. Obviously I don't have much hope for Henry, but please Jenkin, please give me the representation I need of a lefty working class Welsh gay, please. I need some of that. When it comes to the disability sort of representation, I really like how like upfront and unashamed Dylan is about his disability and his prosthetic. I have noticed that even if he's wearing trousers, he tends to tuck the trousers up around to show his prosthetic. He encourages people to talk about it and ask him questions. And like, whilst I wouldn't say that's like ideal for people just generally around and about disabled trying to live their lives because of this whole campaign that's been going on, I think, called Just Ask or something. I haven't looked a whole lot into that, but I don't really want to look into it because I don't want you to ask me on the street about my disability. I put myself here to talk about it here, you know, or on Instagram, etc. I do not want to be bothered in my day-to-day life in the real world. So like, yeah, I like that he's talking about it on TV. I like that a lot of these people are talking about their experiences on TV, but I hope that doesn't then translate to like viewers assuming they can ask strangers about those experiences. I think the people who are immigrants slash migrants are Yinran, Trish and Zach very different experiences, migrated at different ages for different reasons, from different places as well. And like I said, I think it's nice and good to see such varied representation. And I think Trish has also said sort of in her introductory sort of clips about how she wants to show people that immigrants slash migrants are people. They're just ordinary people, and hopefully it'll help like the viewers and stuff understand that a lot of things posted in the media are not unbiased. I quite like Trish. She talks about being very left-wing, very feminist, etc, etc. However, she does get along with somebody who seems the complete opposite, so I'm a little bit like, I'm waiting to see if anything's going to happen there. Hopefully it's just kind of one of those things of, yeah, we're just on TV, so I know I have to sort of deal with you anyway. We'll get to the deeper nitty-gritty things as the show progresses, you know? On to my general thoughts of people as well. There's definitely people I've not enjoyed watching as much, or like I don't think I would like them personally. Like, I have a really big conflict with Jordan. I find him really amusing to watch. He appeals to a certain kind of humour that I have that is very deadpan, and very sarcastic and dry, but I don't think I like him very much. You know, like, I think him as a person is very different to me as a person, but I do enjoy watching him, especially talking and interacting with Big Brother in particular.
I also think, like, watching the interactions happening with him is very interesting. Chanel, was that her name? I've already forgotten, sorry. Chanel seems to be really interested in him, like, really flirting with him, and he seems to be flirting back, but in this sort of, like, stale humour way. And then, like, I have watched an extra episode since filming this video, which is annoying because I have so many more things to say now, where Kerry was asking Henry about Jordan, and Henry was like, oh yeah, like, I really feel like I've made, like, a very special connection in here. And she was like, oh, is he your type? And he was like, well, I don't really have a type. Like, if you looked at all of my exes, they look nothing alike, and they don't really, like, have the same personalities either, but the humour, I think he said that, yeah, the humour is similar. So, like, what is it about Jordan? No offence, Jordan, but what is it about Jordan that's making him so attractive to people? In some ways, it's kind of nice because he is openly bisexual, whether he uses that terminology or not. And it's nice to see actually a straight woman is interested in him, knows that about him, and doesn't care. And then same for a gay guy knowing he's bisexual and not caring about it. Just very interesting because there is so much biphobia, particularly directed towards men in this sort of way. Yeah, like, probably things I've discussed in, like, my Queerness and Skins video, for example, where I make references back to Vineet Mehta's book Bisexual Men Exist. So
I like that sense of humour, but I don't like much else. Not a huge fan of Henry either, for reasons that are obvious, including the fact that he voted Conservative because he decided he would most like to go for a cocktail with Boris Johnson. And also other things like he has no life skills and that he's coming to Big Brother to learn life skills. Reminds me of, I watched, I don't know whether this was the only season that came out of this, but the Australian Big Brother, I watched this, I think, earlier this year just for something to do, something that wasn't going to take too much brain space just to consume. There was this kid called Kieran on there who was basically exactly that, except I found Kieran really gross. At least Henry is not, like, gross. Just kind of annoying, pompous, posh, you know. I don't like Chanel. Chanel? I think that's how it's pronounced. But basically she's the skinny white blonde Welsh girl. I didn't really have any opinions of her until this one particular task where the young kid who's a butcher had to decide, like, rank who was most to least kind. and she got least kind, even though he was literally there saying, oh, this is just kind of the people I've spoken to the most to the least. The people who are doing that task have to do the task because they're like winning something. Don't remember what it was, but you know, they were winning something if they did it. And she got really personally offended by that. And I find those kinds of interactions frustrating on programs like Big Brother, because for me, as somebody who kind of looks at reality TV in a particular point of view, where it's like the producers, whoever else involved, the show writers are all involved in trying to make the most entertaining show possible. A lot of the time that includes putting people in positions that's going to cause problems, even though you either basically have no choice in the matter, or if you do make a choice, not doing the task means that you've probably taken food away from somebody, or like special privileges, like in I'm a Celebrity. There's a point in that where where they have to like win people's like family letters. Like, of course, it's fucking horrible when you don't win somebody's letter for them, and that can cause some conflict between the person who was meant to try and win it and the person who didn't get their letter. So like for me it's frustrating because I immediately see that as, well, obviously that's a tactic to try and wind you up, and you've fallen for it immediately. Like, this was day, I don't know, I've obviously, we've only had 1 week out so far. It was within like the first few days, and to me that just seems really silly to take that so personally. And she kind of took it out on him as well. And whilst I'm not sure how I feel about that guy either, whose name I can't even fucking remember, like, I don't know how I feel about him, but I am on his side in that argument where he was like, I literally said it's literally just the people I've spoken to the most to the least, and I had to do it. I didn't choose to do this one, and it was all to like win whatever. And she was like, oh, I just think it's funny, like that you would put me last. And it's like, and then she called him childish, and I was like, actually I think you're childish for this reaction, but okay. Oh, his name was Tom. Pardonnez-moi. I also, from seeing the interactions with some of the other, between some of the housemates, I guess is what they're called, I do get why Farida is or was grating on other people. I think she would have grated on me as well. She did seem to interrupt a lot, not really let you finish a sentence, or you didn't really let other people finish sentences, and like I really struggled following her train of thought for a lot of things. I did think it was a little bit strange and unfair, some of the things she was saying in her last like episode or two to people. Her assumption that all the young people were trying to get the older people out, like where did that come from? And then when Kerry was trying to explain, like, I don't think that's true because I am close with a few of the younger people, it then came back round to like, oh, they see you as their mother, or like it was something about power dynamics and blah blah blah, and it was a bit like, I don't really know where you're going. And I like, whilst I understand that Kerry definitely did take some of that in the wrong way, I think she also didn't really hear Farida out in some of those moments either. But I do understand why that was frustrating for Kerry and Olivia and Hallie in particular, because those were the people that basically that were being talked about there. And yeah, it's a bit strange seeing, I think it was Paul, when he nominated Farida for the public vote, said that, you know, when they first met, she was talking about wanting to share a bit more about what it's like to follow Islam as your faith and things like that. And he was like, oh yeah, cool. And then as the days went on, he'd started to hear her saying different things, and that she was hoping for other things to come of this Big Brother opportunity that were more to do with like maybe fame or money, etc. That made him feel a bit like, oh, okay, well, all of the above can be true, but why didn't you say all of the above when we talked about it, you know. Generally, who I like now, at the moment, I do like Kerry.
So I changed my mind after filming this because I watched an episode I hadn't watched yet, and I also accidentally spoiled the next episode that I haven't watched yet. Where, yeah, the first one is where Kerry says that she's been voting Tory ever since she could vote, since the age of 18, and the only reason why she didn't vote last time was because she thinks Boris Johnson's an embarrassment. And then she started complaining about having to pay higher tax for her earnings. I did really like and appreciate the people around her challenging her on that. Specifically Zach, who was like, yeah, you know, like 90 to 99% or whatever of people in the country do not earn like above 20k a year. And basically called her out on complaining about paying higher tax for that. And she was like so shocked she didn't even realise that. And it's like, my guy, what do you mean? And also I saw a few other people be turned off her from that comment, including Jenkins. So yes, Jenkins, thank you so much. You are living up to my hopes and expectations of a Welshman. And then apparently the episode that I haven't seen yet is Kerry sort of threw a bit of a strop and said, well, that's gay. And all the papers keep saying, oh, Kerry uses outdated slur. And I was like, oh my God, did she call someone the F slur? Like, did she call someone like a D, a D word? No, she just says, well, that's gay. You know, so whilst I agree she shouldn't have fucking said that, and I think it's really funny the response that's happened online where people are like, I haven't heard someone call something gay in this context for like over a decade. I shared this with a friend and he was like, wow, that's very 2010s of her. I was like, literally. I do feel like, yeah, the media is being a bit overzealous about, you know, saying that she used a homophobic slur, because she didn't, but she did use gay in a negative way, which I don't agree with. So apparently ITV are like looking into this and going to decide what to do. Because apparently she said some other things that are iffy, so I'm not sure what they were, whether I just kind of maybe didn't even really pay full attention when she said some of those other things. But yeah, I am very upset and disappointed that one of the people that I liked on this show and was giving disability representation and different mobility aids, like some TV time, I'm just a bit like, wow, you are not the person I thought you were. So yeah, at the moment I think my actual favourites are like Zach and Jenkin. Probably the others that I talk about in a minute too.
I think she's quite funny and nice, and I like to see the disabled representation. I like Hallie. She's been very well spoken and handled herself very well in the house with people who are maybe not like particularly understanding or very aware of how rude some of their questions have been about being trans. Like being asked if a man wanted to date her, does that make him gay? Again, I'm glad these conversations are being had on TV, on like in mainstream television, so more people can like see these conversations happening. I do like Trish quite a lot at the moment, although there was a really odd like argument between her and Olivia at one point that her doing the big bosses role was really difficult for her. She didn't choose the food that was out there, and it's like, yeah, but you were like being pampered up there. You didn't have to do all these things. So I don't know why you're getting into this argument. It's very weird. I'm not a huge fan of Olivia, but I was on her side there.
Okay, and as well, to be fair, in the episode that I did end up watching, Trish did go and approach Olivia because she was like, oh, I feel like there's some tension between us. So they had like a really good conversation, openly talking about those things and how they both actually do really appreciate the direct feedback from somebody else. And people probably read their communications as a bit more, I can't think what words Olivia used, but yeah, they're a bit louder, quite passionate about the things that they're saying. People might read those as like argumentative or combative when it's really not like as big of a deal to them. So I really liked and appreciated that. I liked that Trish felt uneasy and approached Olivia and they just had a conversation about it. I also really like seeing that on TV because I feel like this doesn't really happen in real life much. And I appreciate them both just being quite honest and open about their feelings and their perception.
I like Dylan. I like Zach. I quite enjoy him. I didn't realise he was my age. I guess we have one thing in common. Most people think we're younger than we are. I just think he's really interesting. And I think he's quite funny. It's quite nice to have someone who's a bit more like chill and laid back. And like I think something that we don't see a lot generally on TV are people of colour with like accents from different parts of the UK. I've been watching Annika, which is based in Scotland, and there's a couple of actors on there who are people of colour with like Scottish accents. And like, you know, I just find that usually in reality TV or in like fiction TV, a lot of the characters who are Black, Asian, other racial minorities tend to always have either more of like an accent from where they are from or their family's from outside the UK, or will have like a southern or like London accents. I just generally like to see more of that varied representation. So I think it's just nice to see Zach, who is a Thai man with like a Manchester accent. I like Yin Ran at the moment. I was very upset that she voted or like nominated Kerry though.
But don't worry, I have changed my mind, so it's fine. I'm not upset anymore, Yin Ran.
But I like Yin Ran. I really appreciate her also talking about the fact that she has felt isolated in the house because she finds that people talk too quickly in English for her to feel able to contribute in like a particularly bigger group conversations. I also just think that she's like really sweet and funny. I think Trish said something like that to her at one point. And then at the moment I'm on the fence, haven't fully decided, but I think I could like Jenkin. Yeah, like I do find him funny. I liked his entering the house outfit. I thought he had a really funky shirt on. But so far, obviously, he had his clothes taken away from him for a while. But the clothes, as he's been getting his clothes back, have been quite normal people clothes. So I'm a little bit disappointed. And like, I don't know, I feel like maybe his insecurities or maybe anxieties have made him feel also maybe a bit out of the loop and not really wanted within group dynamics and conversations. He's definitely sort of withdrawn since a lot of the literally first day setups from Big Brother. So we'll see. I feel like if he can sort of brush that off and then come back and be more authentically himself, I think I will enjoy watching him. Yeah, generally I don't really have a lot of other thoughts and opinions on it. I just thought I'd share a bit about what I'm thinking so far watching the new Big Brother. I don't remember the Big Brother house having 2 stories before, but Kerry mentioned in her like early interview things that she thought that the stairs would be too much for her if she ever applied to past ones. So I'm a bit confused about that. I don't remember them ever like not being a bungalow, and I feel like I don't know if they must be using a different location for this house. So I'm a bit annoyed they did go with a 2-story building, but I am glad that they at least put in a lift for Kerry to use, or anybody to use if they need to use it. But it is a bit annoying when everything has always kind of been bungalow style before. So I don't know if that's maybe to do with the location they're at or not. But yeah, just thought that was a bit odd. Yeah, let me know if you watch Big Brother, what are you thinking of this season? If there's past Big Brother seasons that you really loved, let me know what they were. There's a couple of seasons I'm thinking of going back and like watching for a couple of reasons. I know we had a trans participant who actually won I was going to say a few years ago. I don't know when this was, quite a while ago. That's another thing that made me want to comment on this season as well. Apparently, yeah, the reception that Hallie has had online and in the UK generally has been quite negative. Whereas, you know, back when we had a trans participant in the past, she was so loved and supported that she won. I'm hopeful that Hallie will be loved and supported by the people watching her. And I hope that, yeah, seeing people like Hallie and Ella in mainstream TV will help with some of this anti-trans vibe we have going in the UK. And I feel the same about, you know, like immigrants, migrants, people of colour and disabled people. That's why I quite like to talk about those things in TV and reality TV generally, that I'm hoping the more we see of diverse casts of people in mainstream TV, maybe we'll get a bit like, maybe it will help, you know. Yeah, so there was that season. There was another season with a queer woman. I think it was maybe 2012. So yeah, but also just let me know, are there any people from past seasons you really liked? Tell me about them. I'm gonna, the comment section is for you to talk about your favorite Big Brother participants if you want. I think the only ones that honestly really come to mind for me are Nikki and Pete. Like that is a core memory.
Who is she? Who is she?
Also RIP. Poor Nikki. But yeah, that season was a core memory. I also kind of want to go back and watch the series that had Trish Paytas on. I think that would be a fun one to watch. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Share my videos if you think other people would like them. I'd really like to reach the 900 subscriber mark by the end of October. I don't have far to go. I think when I'm recording this, I think it's 12 subscribers. So sharing my videos generally really helps, whether you're just sharing them on social media or sending them directly to a friend to watch and check out. I appreciate it, and I'm hoping that would mean by the end of 2023 I'll at least have reached the 1,000 subscriber mark. If you also would like to support me in other ways, continuing to watch my videos, watch them more than once, really helps with watch time. The watch time is very high to reach YouTube partner, so I think it's like 4,000 watch hours, which I'm nowhere near, so it'll be something I'll be continuing to talk about in 2024. I do not like saying that sounds awful. So yeah, if you keep my videos playing in the background or check out older videos I've posted, your comments generally as well on the videos will help push my videos out to the algorithm to be delivered to new people who might subscribe, might watch more videos as well. So all of that is really helpful to support me turning this into like a whole thing. And yeah, that is pretty much it. That's all I have to say on this for now. Let me know if you'd like me to do like a recap maybe at the end of Big Brother. I think I'll do a similar thing for maths as well. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. But yeah, that's all for this week and I'll see you next week. Bye.